Okay. Perfect. So this is the class of vision boarding for this year, and it is your monthly Energy Rockstars class. So I'll be doing this once a month about any topic that is important to us. So let's go ahead and get started with the visualization. And before we do that, I want to just burn the Palo Santo. So Palo Santo is a wood and it comes from Peru, but you guys can find it in stores or you can even order it from me. I'll be announcing the Mercury retrograde kits. So what Palo Santo does is it clears out the energies. So if there's any blocks or your energy is very crowded, it really helps to clear the energies out and have clarity around what was going on. So especially during Mercury retrograde, I think Palo Santo is really, really important because our energies are very crowded right now. And that is part of the reason when I said you guys need to declutter, that is to clear energies out. And Mercury retrograde is very supportive of clearing things out, not bringing new things in. So one of the things that you realize is as you're starting the process of clearing things out or setting intentions for the new year. Now, my guess is that most times when you're setting intentions for the new year, you might see a few things being repeated from the previous year, right? So what happens then is you look at it and it's the same list over and over again. I know for me that has been the case in the past, but now it's like when I set a goal, I know most times it will either work or not work, or what am I willing to put in the work for? So how does decluttering help? Decluttering is the process of clearing out energies that are all blocked. So let's say you have your clothes in a pile and it's really sort of sitting there for about 10 days, right? And you might be looking for some movement in your life. Let's say you're waiting for a job interview to take place, or you're waiting to get into a relationship. Any place where you're not seeing movement, look at your physical space and look at where things are just kind of stuck or there's too much of it. And anything that's really old, that holds up energy too. So when you declutter, you're basically now clearing space out for what you want to bring in your life. The second thing that I told you guys was the ceremony for the full moon. And I will talk about how these energies are impacting us and how the vision boarding process can actually really support your movement this time around. So the ceremony on the full moon basically allowed you to put that clear space into a direction. So now that you cleared space out through the decluttering, what you were doing is you were now filling up that space with your intention for what you want to bring into your life or let go. So when you do all of that, now there's very little doubt that you can get to your destination because you've cleared out the blocks from your end. So one of the things that I sent out an email in today was I think it's the Chiron. You guys can correct my pronunciation about it. That planet went direct finally from being retrograde in July. And one of the things that I didn't realize is it worked on your childhood stuff. So if you are feeling very emotional and sort of almost bipolar, what I mean by that is feeling one moment you're very upset and angry, another moment you're feeling really happy and you're thinking, what is wrong with me? There's absolutely no reason for me to feel so extreme. Well, that's because the full moon was in Gemini, right? So that's one of the traits of Gemini, the shadow side. And as we realize that, oh my God, there are all these different things that are showing up in my life on the outside. So what can I do from the inside? Because that's all you can do, right? And the reason I thought that this energetic alignment is very powerful is because of Mercury retrograde occurring the same day as the full moon, right? And Mercury retrograde is one of those energetic alignments that I have a very sort of uneasy relationship with myself. I feel like, oh, I know the lessons are going to be great. I know that I'm going to come out strong. I know, but when I'm in those moments, it's very hard to remember those truths, right? So when I go into that place of feeling really stressed out and angry and upset during Mercury retrograde, now I'm very quick to remember, okay, this is what's going on. So I've had clients email me and tell me that everything is going wrong in their life. They want to flip out. They're like really stressed out. And I understand, right? Because this is the energy of MR. And it doesn't mean that it's an excuse. It means it's a reference point. And the reason I want to emphasize this is it actually helps to see what you're sitting with in yourself that Mercury is pushing out, right? So the full moon was pushing out even more emotions that you might not have dealt with in a long, long time. So for me, I got this toothache that is really bad. So actually, I rested because I wanted to be able to speak in this class, but I have had a really, really bad toothache since yesterday. It's getting better, but I know that I need to deal with some childhood issues. And it was pretty spot on. And then I heard about the Chiron going direct, and I realized, wow, this is really something, because at least I know now what's coming up for me. So if you're starting to feel very emotional, agitated, not feeling like you have enough faith, so why do a vision board? What's the point? So what you realize is, because there are these different factors going on, it can really support your letting go process, right? So for me, I have to ask myself what I'm willing to let go of. And I realize I have to let go of my unworthiness to a larger degree. So it's always, you're always growing, right? And so it's uncomfortable, but since it's coming up, I can really work on letting it go. Because one of the things that when I prayed about my pain, I was like, well, what is going on? What's the emotional connect? And I realized that I'm choosing to suffer on some level, but I can also make the choice to not suffer. And these are the kind of things that Mercury can really help you understand, because the pain that is coming up is just sitting inside of you. So let Mercury help you and let it go. A couple of the things that I think will be really helpful to work through this period is spend some time in nature if you can, just like 10 minutes, and set an intention that you're really letting everything go that doesn't belong, and you're inviting everything that you want, right? So you're almost unclogging your system on every single day. So another thing is Mercury goes direct December 23rd. However, the shadow is all the way until January 10th. So it's the post shadow. So one of the things that I want you guys to realize is you will still be experiencing the effects, maybe not as strongly, but it will still be there. So let's say you're starting on some kind of new routine. Most people will get on diets, or they want to get on exercise routines. So you might not see a shift per se, so don't give up, because Mercury slows everything down. So you might actually see that you'll drop very quickly right after the shadow and everything of MR is done. So that's one of the things that MR really teaches you. It teaches you to become tenacious and not give up. So I think it's one of the gifts going into the new year, that you can really support yourself in believing that things will come in the way you want them to be. Now, I actually have a very special guest who I will introduce in just about a minute, but I wanted to take any questions you guys have about what I've said so far. Did you guys want to ask me about how you guys are feeling, how your sense of things are, before I move on to what I want to introduce you guys? Yes, you should actually be. The dreams are actually a very good point, Pooja. I'm glad you brought it up. You should be getting very interesting dreams. If you're getting dreams about people from your past, that is a sign that you guys are actually getting messages about some themes in your life. Themes are a big thing in MR. And what I mean by that is, for some people, it's going to be about finances that they really want to focus on. For some people, it's about their health that they really want to focus on. For some people, it's their childhood stuff they want to focus on. So themes are very important, I've noticed, and they generally all surround everything that's going on. So for example, all the people that contact you from your past have something to do with your childhood during MR. Or let's say a part of your body flares up. That has to do with some theme that you're dealing with in MR. So in that sense, dreams are actually very powerful. So if you guys want, keeping a dream journal would be actually a pretty terrific idea, because then you can write down the messages. Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah. So this is around a theme. So one of the things you can write down and see is, what is it about this person? What is sort of the main theme that comes up? Is it love? Is it, what exactly do you feel when this comes up for you? Does that make sense? Okay. And then, yeah, I think a dream journal would be like a really good idea. So I would definitely do that. I think that would be like a really, yeah, actually that's a really good idea. I'm like, wow. Okay, so does anyone else have any questions? Okay, so I wanted to interview someone, and I think you guys know this person, but before I introduce her, I wanted to say one more thing. This is part one. And so if you want to declutter more and do a ceremony before next week, go ahead and do that. We will get into part two, sort of like how, sort of even more of the how of your vision board and energy principles. So that will be a lot of fun. But I want to talk to somebody who has used vision to sort of manifest what she wants, right? So I want to introduce Aditi. Okay.
Hi guys. Hello everyone.
Okay, so all right, guys. Okay, so the reason I wanted to talk to Aditi is because we have talked about how sometimes you don't know why things don't work out, right? Even though you're putting affirmations and you're doing manifestation lists, like whatever you're doing, why does it sometimes not work out? What is the sort of gap, you think?
So for me, I feel like when I had all these ideas, you know, I was all into this world. I was getting all the affirmation books. I was having all of them, and I was doing everything these people were saying, especially with the vision boarding. I've, done the whole magazines, cutting things out and pasting them. And many times, a lot of those dreams that I had stayed on that paper, but didn't actually materialize. And it wasn't until I had started doing energy work with Shweta and incorporating the energy principles into the things that I wanted, things that I wanted to create. I started to realize that, one, there were so many things that were blocking me that were all like related to my thoughts or my life or, where my energy was and all of these other things that had much bigger factors to play than just making that wish for something to come true. And I didn't realize how many blocks I had until I started doing the work. It's funny. Sometimes they say you almost realize like how screwed up you feel even more screwed up and crazy when you start like starting to identify things and learn about yourself and all these kind of things. So I feel like I was able to identify that, maybe I didn't feel good enough for some of those goals. Maybe I didn't feel like I was ready or whatever. So I was able to get those things identified through the energy principles, which was really helpful.
So when you realize that there is a gap, do you feel like it allows you to make a shift? Because you have to be able to do some shift, right?
Yeah. There were sometimes, I'll be honest, the shift felt like it was just such a big mountain that I had to climb that it just felt impossible. It felt like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do this. But then what I started to notice sometimes is as you just took one little step at a time, that in itself was a shift. Even just being more aware of something is a shift and can create change. So I think like it ultimately absolutely can help make a shift once you understand it better.
So one of the things that I told them was how decluttering helps. Can you tell us one time when decluttering actually was like tangible for you, like you saw a shift or a change or whatever?
The most like easiest one that I remember off the top of my head was literally there was this time that Shweta was over and she was like, girl, your fridge is clogging so much money energy. You need to clean this up. And I was like, if there is any motivation for me to clean something up, is money. So I was like, I'm blocking money. Let me clean that ish up right now. And I cleaned that fridge up on Friday. And I kid you guys not, on Sunday, I got an unexpected payment from a client that I wasn't expecting. So I literally got extra money right then. Just recently, I had been decluttering really, really heavy things in the house that I grew up in, and I literally got rid of maybe 4 big bags of things. And once I got rid of it, I was able to bring in $3,000 that I originally was not expecting, maybe 4 to 6 weeks prior to that. So decluttering has really, really always allowed me to see a shift.
Do you also feel like decluttering is something you can actually do? Because I think part of what happens when we're trying to manifest results is that it doesn't feel like it's completely in our control, right? Like it just feels like you've put it down there, you want it, but it doesn't feel like you have too much control on some level. You're just kind of putting it out there. Do you feel like decluttering helps you with feeling that you can do something?
I feel like if I remind myself that like clearing this out is going to make room for something else is what makes it easier. But otherwise, for me, decluttering, I've usually absolutely hated it. I feel like it just feels like such a boring thing to do. And then also, of course, like Shweta teaches us, everything has energy. So all the emotions that are caught up in all those things. When I was decluttering, when I was in Jersey, I was like finding all these birthday cards from my Sweet 16. I was finding things that like I gave out as a goodie bag. And mind you, I have absolutely no use for that right now. But once I remember the sentiment attached to it, I was starting to not want to throw it out anymore. So as soon as any sentiment started creeping in, I'd be like, oh, throw that away real quick, put it away real quick. So like, I feel like it's not always easy to do it, but when you think about the end and the reward you're gonna get, and even the space you're gonna feel within, and from just looking at it, is what makes it easier, I'd say.
Wow. So the emotion behind things, there's emotions behind your stuff, you'd say.
Yeah. So like every item that I own, that you own, has some sort of emotion tied to it. For maybe when you bought it, or when someone gave it to you, and it has like a memory ingrained in it. So when you pick it up or you see it, it kind of triggers that in you, and then that emotion can dictate what happens from there. So you kind of do have to be a little disciplined with it. Because otherwise you're going to end up wanting to keep everything.
So basically Mercury retrograde kind of acts like a decluttering of people and incidents. That's what I feel. And I think that's why Mercury retrograde is so annoying, because it is forcing you to declutter, right? It's going to bring up these people from your past. It's going to bring up themes from your past. And so it's just like, it acts like a declutter, and that's why most people have such a hard time with it. One of my clients said to me that they witnessed an 18-wheeler crushing into a 4-wheeler, and road rage is even more real during Mercury retrograde. So it's very important to be very centered, I would say. And so when you declutter your physical space, it helps with not having your energy very chaotic, right? Because your emotions are already very impatient. So how do you feel setting intentions helps then once you've decluttered?
I think setting intentions helps to kind of cut those cords with all of the things that you're getting rid of. And setting intentions that you are, now ready to receive the new, and you are ready to release whatever you're getting rid of. Because again, there might still be some emotional attachment to certain things. So I think the intentions help kind of cut those bonds out, so you can be very clear to the universe what it is that you want.
So can you tell me one time when knowing that it was Mercury retrograde made you deal with the situation much better?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I know that there's been like a few client situations that have happened during MR. And maybe sometimes I would take something very personally that someone said or someone did or whatever. But when I realize that it's MR and I'm like, oh, this is a learning opportunity for me, I'm shifting something, I'm clearing something out. I feel like I calm down and I don't take it as personally, and I use it for the tool that it is, like whatever it is that came up, and I use it as an opportunity. And you guys, these like buzzwords and stuff, like they sound so great, like, oh, use everything as an opportunity. But when you actually do it, it is so powerful. Like, I know you guys have probably heard of it because, you read all these books probably like I do. But I'm telling you, it really, really works when you shift that and remember it's an opportunity. Otherwise, you end up feeling like a victim. You feel like you're being targeted. You feel like, why is this happening to me? So that makes a big difference.
I think it's very powerful because so many times part of what happens is as empaths, and empaths are people who feel very heavily. They can just like connect to everybody's feelings. So most of us are empaths, right? But one of the things that happens during this time is we are feeling even more of everyone's feelings. So sometimes when you're feeling irritable, it might not even be you, but it will definitely affect your productivity during this time. So holidays are hard because you're also dealing with a lot of these combative energies, and generally Mercury retrograde will be around this time. So I think one of the best ways for empaths to be productive during Mercury retrograde is to remember that it is, and you shouldn't get so emotional. I think one of the things would be, doing visualizations, listening to soothing music. Those things really, really help. And that's why the vision boarding part 2 will be still important, because now that you know these things and you can go back with this information and declutter and do a little ceremony, it will really help you kind of put those principles even more and see where you're maybe missing the energy point or where you can work and get closer to it, right? So we can work on those things. Is there anything else that you feel would be helpful as far as them knowing about how vision boarding can help? Or
I would say before we go into part 2 next week, like really take that time to do the decluttering this week, because in order for you to be able to even have those visions for what you want and etc., we need to kind of clear out the old stuff and make room for it. So definitely make time to do that today, no matter what's going on. Even if you just spend 25 minutes, you'll be surprised at like a handful of things you can probably throw in the garbage. But definitely do that before next week.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I did tell you guys that I was going to do readings for 2 of you. A bunch of you guys did send me messages saying you're going to try and do it again, and so if I could consider it. But since we have the class next week, I will do 2 readings. So, okay, so I will do the readings then.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then you can.
All right, bye guys.
Thank you so much. Okay, you guys, let's see. Yeah, you're not going to feel too productive. That's just kind of how MR does. Even if you're getting a lot done, it doesn't feel like you're getting anything done. So let's see who all are here. Okay. Now, I think one person was Eva. So I know Eva had done that, and I think, let me see who the second person was. Sorry, let me check. I think it was Eva. All right, I'm gonna first do Eva's. I'm gonna do her reading first, and I think the second person will come to me. I can find my notes. And let's see who is here. Okay, Eva, do you want to ask any particular question, my love?
No, I don't have a particular question.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a question, a specific question, no.
Okay, so I'm going to pull out 3 cards for you and we'll see what comes up, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So you got 3 of coins and you got 4 of swords and 5 of swords reversed, which is interesting. So let's see what that. So you have 3, 4, and 5. So you're going through a cycle in your life right now, which is actually the beginning of something. Okay, this is actually in the second stage of its creation. So let's see what this is. Okay. So the coins is definitely money energy. And since it's 3, that's actually a good, yep. Yep, okay. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Officially learned who is the city's next mayor. Yesterday's runoff ended with Keisha Lance Bottoms edging out Mary Norwood by just 759 votes, less than 1%. Norwood,
okay. All right, my love. So the main message from your cards are that you want to use the Mercury retrograde energies to sort of rest and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I feel like there's this level of burnout happening in your energy. So you want to make sure that you're at least taking some time to yourself, like maybe spending 10 minutes just for yourself, like having some tea, like just maybe just giving yourself a hand massage or something that sort of brings the attention back to your energy. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Okay. And then because what's your zodiac, my love?
Scorpio.
Okay. So the full moon was in Gemini, right? So
yes.
Yeah. So so the Scorpio energy with the Mercury retrograde energy, it's kind of like this. It wants to be it's very irritable. So if you're feeling irritable, or you're kind of just feeling a little bit like everyone around you is irritable, it's these energies. So just remember that and try to, like, basically you have to spend some time by yourself because you don't want to burn out even more with these energies. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's like very strongly what, do you use essential oils at all?
I do.
Perfect. So can you use some peppermint and lavender?
Yep.
Okay, that will help. And you can put the peppermint on your root chakra and the lavender on your throat chakra.
Peppermint where? I didn't hear.
The peppermint on your root chakra, on your first chakra, and the lavender on your throat chakra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Now let's see who's the second one. Okay, do you have any other questions before I move on to the next person, my love?
No, thank you. That actually makes perfect sense because I've been feeling burned out. So I'm looking for some alone time. And confirmation. I need it. I'll make it happen.
Good,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll see you for part 2 next time.
Yes.
Okay, let's see who is next. Okay, so it's Lauren. Lauren, can you hear me, my love? Can you hear me, sweetheart? Okay, so okay, I'm just gonna wait a second for her to respond. Yeah, guys, so mainly I would say what you guys want to do is declutter more and see if you guys can do a small ceremony in setting the intentions and everything. You'll find that it's going to help you. You will see movement, okay? Like whatever area it is, if you guys clear out some stuff, it will definitely help you see movement. I promise you that. I've been seeing that. Lauren, are you there, love? Okay.
Firefighters say tomorrow's wind threat will be extremely dangerous. Police say they have the person who shot and killed a man on Thanksgiving morning.
Okay.
Lucas Harris is putting air in his tires at Chevron on Boulder Crest Road in South DeKalb County. They say Shannon.
Okay. So do you guys have any questions for me about MR? Because part of like doing the vision boarding is also important to know these energies. Because if there has been something, for example, that you guys have been wanting for a long time, right? And you're like, no, I should not put it. I'm not good enough and all this stuff. Definitely put it, because that's the MR energy is telling you to not believe in yourself. So let's say, for example, you've wanted to travel for a long time and you're like, no, there's no way. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to have this opportunity happen in my life. That's MR energy. So see if you have had some visions for yourself and you want to put them on the vision board and you don't want to do it because it's MR. But definitely put it down. And what I will do is I'll plug the gaps as to why that doesn't feel like you might be able to manifest it, or why you feel like you can manifest it, right? So we'll talk about that. I'm excited about the class next week because you guys will see where I'm going to be. It's going to be fun. I'll show it to you guys. Okay, so anyone have any questions? Anyone wants to ask like what you need to do to prepare more or anything? It's going to be fun, you guys. I don't want you to stress out about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys can ask anything.
Hey, Sweta, I wasn't sure how to phrase the question. So you're saying to declutter to help you with an area of your life. But let's say you don't really, I mean, like, let's say money. How do I know what area do I declutter for money? Let's just say as an example. That's not necessarily mine, but let's just say, or relationships, you know? Mm-hmm. Is there a certain area of my room I should declutter for that, or certain, like?
So basically, you want to just make sure that like if there is something around you in your physical location that feels kind of cluttered, you want that to clear out. Because any place you can make in your life to sort of have something come in, the easiest way to sort of control it is your physical location, right? Where you sleep and where you sort of, which is your room and stuff. That's the easiest way to declutter, because that's where you are generally sleeping or whatever it is. So the place where you're most spending time, sort of, so to speak, you want that area to be clear. Does that make sense?
Okay, so bedroom is probably top priority.
Yeah, bedroom would be good. I mean, if that's where you spend the most time, and especially because you sleep somewhere, it is also helpful that area at nighttime because we dream and we have all of those things. So I would say if you want to prioritize per se, but some people see they spend so much time traveling or you know, at their work site. So for them, I would say they should probably keep their work area very clear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, so like but like if you, for you specifically, I think do the work area because the work area, I feel like, you know, it's been something that you're working on, so many things, so many projects. So I think that would be the area probably for you that's more cluttered. You know what I mean? Like that will help clear things out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that one would be like more priority. Yeah. And you know, like I even like something simple like when we have emails, right, in our inbox, let's say, that's like also how we communicate or connect with other people. So much of that is now online. So emails are a big one. Or like, what else? We have like stuff in our phone. So decluttering that.
Yeah, files, media.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like I've noticed even doing things like that would help something move in my life. And I was like, oh, wow, this always seems to happen. So that was like, and it's always like that. And I'm like, wow. So wherever I spend the most time, sort of, so to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, anyone else? Oh, another thing, you guys, I just realized Pooja had asked, have been feeling fairly useless productivity-wise. So one of the things is because of the full moon, we are all feeling the effects. So it makes us feel very listless, right? It makes you feel like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like your energy levels are low. So it's harder to do work. And so if you tend to want to feel like, oh my God, why can't I be productive? You are actually being productive by even trying. Yeah. Like just even trying is hard during this time. So that's what happens. And for some people, they're getting sick, stuff like that. So it's part of it. It's part of this energetic space. So you want to, like, if you take a bath, doing things that might make you feel better will help. And that's why I think the vision boarding is a challenge, just because you're like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. But it's actually very helpful. Yeah. Did someone want to ask something?
Aside from the decluttering, is there anything special we should do before next week?
I would do another ceremony. I will send another email out. I would do it like and a ceremony doesn't have to be anything ridiculous. Like ceremony can just be like you sit down and you write your intentions and what you want to manifest and what you want to have happen in your life next year. So that's what I would do with the ceremony part of it or the ritual part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things I was telling Pooja, and I don't know if you guys heard, is that bath salts will help because they help clear the energies out. So this is a time of self-care, you guys. I know it's hard because there's so many demands and commitments being asked of everyone, but it really is a time to come to yourself. That's why you'll notice if you do that, if you do enough self-care about yourself, just 20 minutes a day, you're not going to get sick. Your stress level is going to be less. Another thing, I just tell this as a general rule of thumb, is that you guys want to make sure that you're drinking warm water with lemon in the morning. That flushes stuff out. So that's been really helpful for me. But mainly I would say your practice has to be self-care. If you start to get too stressed out, self-care. Also, if you guys are traveling, I will be traveling during MR, is make sure that you get to the airport in time, and delays are common. just remember to stay in your center, right? So that would be really helpful. And you guys can write down, you know, what are your desires? What would you like to manifest? Like, make it a fun exercise. Like, go back to that part of you that wants to see things happen. And let's see what the universe wants from us. And, you know, next week will be a lot of fun. I'll again see who has done these things. So if you guys didn't get a chance to do it and put it down. And then I will pick 2 of you guys to do a reading. And I'll have a surprise for you guys next week. Okay? Anyone want to ask anything before we wrap this up? I'll have the recording up. Perfect. So was this helpful, you guys? I know for me, this really helps me calm down, because otherwise I feel like, what is wrong with me, right? That's why I think this is really helpful. Good, I'm glad. Yeah, let's use these energies to our advantage instead of these pushing us back and forth, right? Okay, you guys. So thank you again so much for joining. I am glad that this was helpful. Feel free to post comments in the group about what you learned from this and how you want to be able to apply and what you think you will be able to, you know, look forward to next week. So that way, if you guys have any questions, I can already incorporate it in the material. And if not, then you guys can ask me during the class. All right? So let's do a quick visualization and close this up. I'll post the recording later tonight. All right. Bring your attention to the base of your spine. Take a deep breath in. As you take a deep breath, visualize the base of your spine getting cleared out. As you breathe out, your body feels comfortable. Take another deep breath in and visualize your heart clearing out. And deep breath out. Let it go. And one last deep breath in. Take a deep breath in and visualize your entire body clearing out. And deep breath out. Let it go. All right, you guys, so just go ahead and drink some water after this and take a chill and just relax. And also know that if you guys have been feeling some kind of way, at least now you guys can relax and just know that these are the kind of energies that's going on, right? So much love to each one of you. I will see you guys next week, and I will obviously be posting stuff in the group. So if you guys have any questions, post it there, okay? Bye.